What's up guys, it's your man I Do a Barber. In today's tutorial, you're gonna see me execute this fade with these two tools right here. No guards, just a simple adjustable clipper and a comb. This is the MV-LI by Andis. It has a wall fade blade on it, as you can see there. Any links to these products will be linked in the description below, but let's get started. Yay! Hey! I heard you watching my channel and you're not subscribed. Press that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. It's going down. In this one, we're doing a, little drop fade, as I said. But boy, oh boy, we got to get this thing started. So, as you guys know, with my new fade system, I'm coming in with the lever closed on the adjustable, creating my first guideline, and I'm going all the way around. I'm following the bulk. If you guys are curious what's dictating the shape of my guideline, it's the bulk of his hair. This is how it should work if you're trying to fade into some length on top. So now I have my 5-0 detachable blade, and it's zero gapped if you're curious. And we're gonna bald out right underneath that. So instead of putting it in with the trimmer or whatever, I like to put it in with the adjustables closed first, then come right underneath that with a 5-0. You can use a trimmer if you don't have a 5-0 or a balding clipper, whatever you prefer. But this is the manner in which I like to work because it just makes things a little bit easier once it's time to remove those lines. So now I'll have the lever open on my MVs with the wall fade blade on it. If you guys are curious, that's the Andis cordless MV-LI with the wall fade blade. We're creating a slightly an inch, you know what I mean? Slightly. I mean, I'm not gonna get a measuring tape out, but this guideline, if you guys watched any of my other tutorials, this guideline is a lot smaller than those other tutorials you've seen. So now I've got the lever halfway, and we're gonna start removing that guideline. So as you see, like his hair, it's not even all the way through that guideline. Like some areas are darker. And when you're cutting hair, you need to pay attention to how the hair is once you create like a guideline, especially if you fade with guidelines. It'll tell you how easy or difficult the haircut's gonna be. You know what I mean? Just by putting in that one guideline, you'll see if there's darker spots through that guideline, you'll know where you need to pay more attention, and if this haircut's going to be just a little bit more difficult, because not every canvas is the same. Not everyone's hair will fade easy, and sometimes you got to go into some darker areas a little bit higher than you normally would. So that's what I'm doing right here, paying some close attention there. You can probably see as it transitions back to the occipital bone area there, a few dark spots, and of course I'm going to take care of those too, because right now the lever is closed and we're all the way down to removing. So now you see his hair in the back, it grows literally right and left. It grows into the center, then it goes down. So it's a little bit tricky. So now I've got my comb and I've got the lever open, which essentially, if you're trying to equate this to guards, it's about a 1.5. So I'm just going up and I'm basically creating another guideline. This is exactly what I'm doing. I'm removing bulk and I'm creating another guideline. It's sort of like a shape, if you want to call it that, because most combs along the spine is the length of a 1 guard. If you talk about the thickest part of the comb, now each comb is different, mind you. Don't take that as the gospel. Every comb is different. The spine of some combs are very thick and some combs are very thin. So the typical combs, this is what I mean by this, the typical combs that you find, like a taper comb or all-purpose comb, typically they're around a 1 at the thickest portion, because like this one, it's a little bit thinner if you look at the taper comb, which you'll see a little bit later in the tutorial. And I'm just coming in here, just taking it. Now this particular client, I like using the clipper and comb with him because it actually is a little bit quicker than using guards. I've used guards on him, I've used this method, I've used scissors, but it all came to this one conclusion: using the clipper and the comb solely is quicker. So right now you can see the angle that I'm coming in with the clipper. The clipper's not flat, it's at an angle, which means it cuts at a longer length. So it's like really the equivalent of me using a half guard. And you see now I just flipped the taper comb and I close the lever a little bit, and I'm just attacking that area because the taper area of the comb, that little smaller portion, obviously that's a lot smaller. It's a little less than a 1. I would not say that it is a 0 or a half, but it's like in between a 1 and a 0, which is awesome because, you know, if you know how to manipulate the clipper and use angles, and, you know, if you're a flicker, which as you can see, I'm doing a little bit of flicking and I've got the thing angled, you know, you can create the length of a 0 or a half guard by using it. And of course, you know, using the corners as well. So now we're going to do the back, and we're going to compress this quite a bit because he doesn't have much area through here. Like if you go up too high here, it could be catastrophe because he has a lump there, and the shape of his hairstyle will be ruined if you go up too high. So this area, obviously we can't go up too high. So again, clearing bulk, keeping it very simple, just removing this bulk so we can get into the fading process. So as you can see by me removing that bulk, you could slightly see some scalp exposure through there. So now, as you see there, I just close the lever, which is now we're working at about a 1. So now I'm just coming in here and I'm slowly blending it away, and you can see already that the fade is starting to get in here. And now I switched over to the taper portion because that little area is always a problem area with him. He has a few areas that are problem areas, but of course, you know, I cut his hair every week, so I know about this and it's easy for me to handle. But if this were your first time cutting his hair, different story, totally different story. Because his hair, I like to actually fade it in sections because of him having so many problem areas. I prefer to fade his hair in sections, and it's all up to you guys. Like sometimes I'll fade people's hair in sections and sometimes I won't. It's just, there's no rhyme or reason. It just depends on how I feel. So I just switch back over, and now I'm going to the taper comb. So now this little area, I'm trying to knock this little area out because it's practically done. And I'm just switching in between. When you're using this comb, I actually, and this is exactly why I like using the comb over the guard, because I don't have to reach back for another comb or guard and take it off, take it on. I literally just flip the comb, boom, and I can easily work in between like this really quickly. And it takes knowledge. You got to know what you're doing, and you got to know how to execute quickly. Because if you're just sitting there like looking like, oh, what do I do here? Oh, what? Like, no, that's not gonna work. You know, like if you work swiftly, the process can happen really fast. And as you can see, I mean, I'm working in real speed. Like everything you're watching here is me doing this in real speed. So there were some portions there you would see me with the comb, angle the comb out a little bit more. You could probably see that. That is me creating a longer length. That's me essentially, let's say, going in with the 2 guard, right? But just going straight up off the head. So that's me digging in with that, but I'm pulling and I'm angling the comb out to where it doesn't take off too much length, but it helps me connect to that length on top. And right now I'm just doing a little bit of detail work with this blend. As you see here, I'm just hitting this through this portion because I didn't get a chance to use the taper area through this area. So I'm just tidying up some dark spots, using the corners, using a different angle. As you can see, that blade is not flat. And like I say, very, very difficult hair to fade. It took me, I'm not gonna lie, it took me a while to really figure out what I like to use with him. I've used masters, I've used these MBs with the wall fade blade, I've used the double magnetic guards, I've used the single magnetic guards, I've used the wall guards, I've used the combinations of blades, but it came back to me using a simple clipper and a comb. And it's actually funny, and we're doing the shape on his style where he wants it to flare out, so that's what we're doing here. But he actually told me, it's actually kind of funny, when he was in Germany, his barber actually used a clipper and a comb on him as well. And after I tried it, I was like, it makes sense now. It totally makes sense. So now I've got the lever open, as you can see, and I'm coming in and I'm raking the hair down, and it's essentially like taking some length off. You can do this with someone's hairline that's maybe wavelength or whatever, and just, you know, take off some length. So here we go, edge up time. Starting from the middle, working our way out. And I know this might be a little contradictory, because if you would look at my how to do an edge up video, I started at the box and then worked my way in. No rhyme or reason here. This is just how I wanted to do it for this haircut. People always ask me all the time, like, oh, you don't use these clippers anymore, because you might see me using one clipper in a video. No, this is not true. Sometimes I just do things because I want to, damn it. You know what I mean? So it's no particular rhyme or reason. I just felt like doing it this time. You know, I have many different fade systems. That doesn't mean I'm not fading like this anymore. It's just, this is what works best for me for this particular client. Like a lot of my clients, I have different fade techniques for a lot of my clients. I don't use the same fade technique for every client. All right, so we're doing this little box right here. One thing you want to note is 90 degrees. Keyword 90 degrees. Remember, 90 degrees on that corner there. That will help and ensure that you have the proper edge up and the proper looking edge up. 90 degrees. So I'm gonna use some fibers. I'm using darkest brown. Now with his hair, I could use either black or darkest brown. The darkest brown helps it look more natural. However, I've noticed with him, if you apply too much darkest brown, because his hair is pretty dark, it will really show the darkest brown, because obviously his hair is darker. So, you know, light coat, I don't want to put too much. You know, I want it to try and look as natural as possible. That's the whole idea behind why I do enhancements, or when I'm doing enhancements. My goal is to try and make sure that the hair still looks natural. It doesn't look too fake, like it's overly enhanced. It's just a slight enhancement. I'm just trying to enhance the haircut a little bit. And he's one of the rare few clients that I actually do enhancements on. I don't have a lot of clients that ask for enhancements. So now I'm going to use the twisted up comb, and we're going to get this little style, get him created, finish him off. It's all, you know, a good haircut is not a good haircut unless it's finished. So that's what this is all about here. And as you see, this is the Antetokounmpo fade. So only if Antetokounmpo actually had a good fade, you know. Shame on a lot of these NBA players, man. They have really bad haircuts, guys. I don't know. Jeez, I don't know. But yo, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Share if you care, and I'll see you guys next time. It's been your man, I do it, signing out. And I'll holla.